And, we did a lot of cool stuff. And then I found myself in the Special Forces Tech Unit, which is, it's called 8153. You can check it out on Wikipedia. I think there's a page on that. And that is like the most advanced intelligence tech unit in Israel. A lot of engineers, thousands of engineers doing a lot of R&D research and actually developing intelligence systems. Very, very interesting, very valuable. And then I was there for about a decade, for about 10 years. I was the head of robotics field and a senior project manager. It's like 800 people underneath my management, not directly, but basically, this is what we do.
What sort of projects do you guys work there that we can speak of?
Of course. Well, they're not. Most of them are confidential. We like robotics. We did also robotics with the industry and the Israeli DoD, the Mafat. And the idea was basically, unmanned, etc. Unmanned stuff. So you can send them to missions that are very dangerous or very dirty or very something. And since robotics is I know you like it, so yeah, we can talk a little bit about robotics. But today I'm doing mental health, and physiology and electrophysiology, different things. Maybe the interaction with humans, that's the common denominator. But basically, robotics is a field that there's a lot of very, let's call it, unprofessional development, like a lot of makers and stuff like that, that's very, very common, and only really, really few commercial applications. Like you have, robots in factories, you have now starting a little bit delivery, these kind of things. You have drones, you have these kind of things, but except for military, I think, industries, of UAVs and these kind of things, when it's in the air, it's easier. You don't see it, very common. And the reason is it's a complicated field. You need for those pieces of metals and plastic to, coexist with humans. And a human environment is something that was designed for humans. All right, for humans and not for machines. Right. So it is very difficult for a robot to do delivery. In this building, it's very difficult for a robot to clean this place. It's very difficult for a robot to fix things, to build things. It needs to be designed from the point of view of the robot. So, and a lot of, integration of a lot of technologies. You have mechanics and, electronics and software and algorithms and sensors and everything. So it is a very multidisciplinary system that needs to work. And also, somehow it needs to provide an ROI, right? A return on investment. Otherwise, it's just building a very expensive machine and no one will buy it. So there's a lot of constraints in robotics.
There's a funny quote about robotics. They say that what's very easy for humans is very difficult for robotics, and what's very easy for robots, like moving things 100 times, heavy stuff, is very hard for humans.
Yeah, I agree. So now I think mostly, need to coexist in some way. So there's like really good companies designing robots to clean buildings and stuff like that. It's very dangerous and nobody wants to do that. Or cleaning nuclear reactors or this kind of thing. So, and that definitely makes sense. But also, yes, deliveries and driving cars and these kind of things. It's still it's a robot at the end. Hopefully it will move faster, but there are a lot of challenges until it's going to be fully commercial and, step by step. I think what I liked, and this is maybe also what I did in the past, and a lot of the implementation is the interaction with humans. Like I was specializing in it's called like a human-machine interface or human-computer interface. How does the robot work with you through all the technology? Like how do you understand a person without even asking him? Because the robot can ask you, he can ask you, can I move aside? But he needs to anticipate, what the people around him should feel and react. And that is still very complicated. So I think I really like that part of the company.
Well, we're talking about robotics.
Yeah.
Might be worth to comment on the current uprising of the robotics, I would say, race. We see in the past, for example, in the 2000s, early 2000s, it's the phone. Everybody's trying to build a pocket-sized phone. The iPhone was the clear winner, and then followed by Samsung and all of that. And then far later, we have the AI race. Well, that's currently what's happening. And I think what's currently also rising lately, very recently, is the robotics uprising. We have companies in Israel like Menti, which is building humanoid robots. We have Figure from America, and we have obviously companies in Japan like Toyota and others building humanoid robots. What do you see coming in the future?
Well, it depends what type of future are we talking about. Well, I won't say, I might be a little bit of a party pooper here. Maybe because of my experience in the field and know how complicated it is from the inside. I think it's gonna take time. And, I'm always asking, like, okay, so you have the perfect humanoid and it cost $1 to manufacture, which, both things won't happen in the next 100 years. But let's say, what do you do with that? Like, we have people, they want to work, they
Right.
need to work, and they can do a lot of things. So, all right, I have the perfect humanoid, he doesn't cost a thing. What am I going to do with it? Send them to, what? What? So the what is a problem here. Like everybody wants, the robot to do the dishes for them and clean their house for them. But, I clean my house. You can bring someone else and pay him not that much, not, such a high amount of payment or wage, even an hourly wage. It's not that there's a problem that it's not solved. It's solved. People cleaning their house, washing their dishes. Okay, so a robot can do it. What's the added value here? And I think that's a problem. It's not very, very clear. So first of all, we need to find a really, really good use case for this kind of technologies. And then it's very expensive to build those things. And then they really need to interact in a human environment. Or we build the environment to fit to them, like industrial environment, which is, fully automated, and it's built with a lot of investment to fit for those technologies and those robots, and then it starts to prove itself. Again, not 100%. So it's okay to develop this kind of technologies. I don't see them very common in the next 10 years, but I might be surprised. And moving forward, maybe 50, 60 years, if it's really, really working well, then, there's a lot of things maybe humanoids can do for us. I'm not sure today.
I feel like technology these days is like mathematics in the Middle Ages when, say, Pascal or Gödel or Fermat founded a theorem, but nobody found a use for it until 100 years later. I feel like technology these days are like solutions in search of a problem because we just develop so fast. But we'll see. I think it's a very interesting space. The question of what, like you said, is very important, and we'll see what's going to happen. Anyway, from robotics in the Israeli military and research, how did you progress into building your venture?
So my first venture was a robotics company. It was really nice. We closed, we sold it at the end. It was also a venture thing. It was okay. It was nice. I think the technology is out there. And by the way, sorry, one thing about robotics and humanoids, just thinking about it, shuffling with you, maybe send them to Mars. Like, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk has a plan for that, but you cannot send, 1,000 people to Mars now. It's very expensive and very dangerous. You don't want them to die in the process. It's like really, really, really dangerous. So send 1,000 humanoids. Maybe that makes sense. I think expensive, but makes sense.
That's a very good idea, actually. I spoke about Mars exploration a couple episodes ago, and we spoke about how we can't just do what humans do on planet Earth on Mars. We got to change our thinking and what we do and how we do things. There was this movie called Mars Express. It's a French movie, and in the end of the movie, basically the robots they departed from humans. They broke up. Obviously there are some problems like every robot movie. There's like always some issue with humans. And
communication doesn't work.
Right. They ended up leaving planet Earth and they traveled to Mars and they just settled a colony there, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it actually makes sense now thinking about it. But so we find a use case. That's number one.
That's number one.
Now we need to build the whole thing and finance that. Okay, so going back, sorry for the detour.